So there.
So there.
So there.
So there.
Let me know your thoughts.
So there.
So there.
So there.
Let me know your thoughts.
Why do you keep saying let us know your thoughts?
Let me know your thoughts to me is a nice lead-in for So There. So There. Welcome to episode 68 of So There.
I'm Gary Doyle.
And I'm Tom Karamitis.
In case you didn't guess, I was mouth trumpet playing the Olympic theme. Tom, wasn't your part? I tackled the Olympic theme, and wasn't your part the NBC part where they show Mike Tirico and they do the, or is that part of the theme?
I don't know. I don't know if it's part of later on in the same piece of music. I don't know, but they're to me both recognizable as the themes we hear when we watch the Olympics.
Tom and I thought we would assess the Olympics this week because we're in the middle of the Olympics. Speaking of Mike Tirico, Tom, what do you think of Mike Tirico?
Well,
let us know your thoughts.
you just put me out there right off the bat. Well, look, he's fine.
Do you want to share your nickname for Mike Tirico?
Well, the things I share with you offline that maybe I wouldn't feel as brave about saying. Let me just suffice it to say that Mike Tirico has a bit of a past from his days at ESPN, and I'm going to kind of leave it at that. If anyone wants to look up Mike Tirico, ESPN history, he had some unsavory.
Why are you dancing around this? It's not like Mike Tirico's going to hear this and come after. So there were sexual assault allegations against Mike Tirico.
Yes, he had a bit of a sexual predator reputation at ESPN many years ago, but they're out there. So I've had a bit of an issue with Mike Tirico. Yes, you're absolutely correct.
So do you have Olympic fever, Tom?
I had Olympic fever before the Olympics started, and then during the opening ceremony, my fever broke. And hasn't really returned yet. But what did you think? Did you watch the opening ceremonies?
Yeah, I did. I on the one hand admired the audacity of it and the craziness. I liked how it took place throughout Paris. Paris has a special place in Gary Doyle's heart. I spent 3 months living there in my 20s, so I love the city, and it was fun to see it all, and getting out of a stadium like they usually do the opening ceremonies was fun. But in typical French fashion, like half of it was kind of spectacular and half of it made no sense and was a mess. So, yeah, entertaining, but a bit of a head scratcher in parts.
Yeah, I would agree. I felt like, as opposed to most of the other things we all seem to watch on television, this content was not designed solely for Americans, and I think a lot of it, in my case, kind of went over my head. I also was utterly befuddled by the choice of the commentators who joined Mike Tirico during the opening ceremony. Peyton Manning and Kelly Clarkson was about as odd and random as I could imagine. Now, I love Peyton Manning. I think he's great. I think he's funny. I think was great in the times he's been on Saturday Night Live. He's got incredible range for an ex-jock, but he has nothing to do with the Olympics. You know, American-style football is not an Olympic sport. Last time I checked, he really felt like he was out of his element and trying to just kind of coming up with kind of observations that if you stopped anyone on the street and said, "What do you think?" It was those kinds of observations. I was really looking for more, more points of view from an educated, and by educated I mean educated about the event commentator. And as for Kelly Clarkson, I mean, I think she was even worse on the scale for me. It just seemed empty, and if I may use a pompous word, vapid. What did you think of them? Maybe it was just me.
No. It's a bit of a reach. I think clearly their approach is, the Olympics don't bring in the ratings they used to. They don't bring in the young people. We need to broaden out beyond the sports hardcore. So they bring in, all these celebrities. They bring in Snoop Dogg. I find Snoop Dogg baffling. And he's become this, ambassador for the entire games. I have nothing against Snoop Dogg. I like his music. I like him just fine, although he's massively overexposed now. But why Snoop Dogg? I keep wondering this when he's with Mike Tirico in the studio and he's at the arena cheering on the athletes. It's just, I'm baffled.
Totally agree. But I'm not even familiar with his music because he didn't record in the 1970s, as you often like to point out. But yeah, he's become the NBC mascot. They want him to weigh in on everything from interviewing athletes to interviewing family members and fans to, as you said, having a daily recap studio interview with Mike Tirico in the studio. What did you think of today's whatever, badminton? I just don't understand. And he's not exactly a contemporary artist anymore, is he? I mean, wasn't his heyday in the, early 2000s?
Yes, he doesn't really record and sell records anymore. In that sense, he's not popular, but he's become one of these people that just is famous for being famous, and he keeps getting endorsement deals. He just, yeah. So, yeah. What do you think of the sports, Tom? Are you enjoying the sports?
Well, I will give you a yes and no to that. Yes, when I venture away from NBC's mainstream network coverage, I enjoy it because I really get to see the sports. Whether you go to Peacock or I've been watching the golf on Golf Channel, I enjoy that. But I'm finding what's happening is on the primetime coverage, NBC has so many features that they show before an event that there's no rhythm to the broadcast. I find as soon as you've seen a couple of gymnastics things or a couple of heats of swimming, they cut away and they show some guy who grew up on a farm in Iowa and, he swam through the hay bales to learn how to swim. It's and they're all 5 or 6 minutes long.
Swam through the hay bales?
I'm being sarcastic, but I mean just these kind of overwrought 5-minute video essays to help us get to know the athletes. And frankly, for me, I don't care if I get to know the athletes. I want to watch the damn event. So I find during those sequences, I tune out. I end up watching something else, and sometimes I don't come back. So whether it's a video essay or a cutaway to Mike Tirico in the studio or, something else or interviews with family members or fans, I just find what I really want is to see the sport. I don't really care about all the fluff.
Cutting away to Mike Tirico sexually assaulting someone in the studio.
It's become a running joke in our house to say, are any of the female athletes allowed to be alone in the studio with Mike Tirico, or do they need a chaperone? But that's what I found about it. You've been watching NBC's coverage and...
Well, I watch in the evening because, unlike you, I have a job. I work. I work for a living, unlike Tom Karamitis. But I watch in the evening. It's interesting. They have it on at work in our big kind of gathering room. They have it on all day, and it's interesting. You're correct that, when I pass by that TV, just walking through the room, they'll be showing badminton. Or they'll be showing 3-on-3 basketball, or they'll be showing team handball, or all this stuff. All you see at night is swimming and gymnastics. That's it. Swimming, gymnastics. Swimming, gymnastics. Now they've started to work in the last day or two a little diving. But if all you watched for prime time of the Olympics, you would think it's pretty much swimming, gymnastics, high diving, and track and field. That's it.
Yeah, that's interesting. I know that they front load swimming at the first week and they back load track and field the second week. But what about basketball? Have you seen much of basketball?
No basketball.
Yeah.
So weird. They don't even show highlights of basketball. They don't even, there's like a passing mention of, the U.S. team beat Serbia today. I'm like, but that's about it. I find that, and these are obviously big stars. That's baffling. So, yeah, I don't understand it. I'm watching it almost because I feel like out of obligation. But yeah, if I have to watch another swim, right? If they all start to look the same, they all start to blend in. And I'll tell you something else I've noticed is how hyped Olympic announcers are, right? Like,
oh my God, are you talking about that guy Roddy?
Any of them. You get the sense this is the only time people pay attention to them. Every 4 years, this is the only time people pay attention to them or the sport, and they just have to hype it through the roof. He's coming down the stretch, Jim. It's a smartphone. He's going to go for the man, and they're going to do it. Ah! It's like, that's every event.
Yeah,
they lose their mind.
I think you're talking about a guy, his name is Roddy Gaines, I think. He is the color commentator for all the swimming events, and all he does is scream.
He's rowdy. Yeah, but they all hype it up a little bit, and I don't know if you've noticed this, but it kind of, like I said to Lisa while I was watching, it gets to me a little bit like gymnastics. If somebody on another country does a great routine, they'll be, that was really solid, Jim, excellent, sure to get a good score. If an American does a really great routine, it's like, this is her moment. This is gold, America. I mean, it gets so, I get it. It's like, I get they're Americans, I get it. But it's just a little bit crazy sometimes, It's like watching your baseball team, and the other team gets a home run. They go, and there's a home run. I get it. And then when our team hits a home run, they kind of go crazy. But it's just, I don't know. It's just really noticeable and kind of, come on, guys.
I think, well, you hit on a very, very key thing that also affects me, and I find that I subtly, quietly, often start to root against the Americans. And I'm not proud to say that. There are exceptions. That guy, the male gymnast with the glasses who is on the pommel horse, I loved him. He was great.
The nerd.
But, yeah, maybe part of what I loved about that guy. But I find more often than not, I tend to quietly root against the Americans. And this, to me, started, I think, in the 1980s when the Americans were the first ones, if I recall, during track and field events who would drape themselves in the American flag after they won. I mean, it seemed like all the other athletes would win with grace and dignity, and they'd be happy, and they'd put their arms up and stuff. But Americans always kind of seemed to go over the top with their self-glorification, and it just became embarrassing to me a little bit. And unfortunately, that feeling has kind of stuck with me during international events like this. But you're absolutely right. It's the homerism with the announcers is a little bit too over the top, I mean, first of all, the only events they tend to show in prime time are ones that involve Americans. You'll rarely see a swimming heat with no American in it during prime time. So,
right. Do you were you rooting against Simone Biles, Tom?
No, I wasn't. I like her. But it's like I was kind of thinking, okay, there's always so much drama with her, injury drama, like the last Olympics when she had the twisties and she withdrew, and then the media got all breathless because she had, her ankle was bothering her, and I don't know. I like her. I think she's very likable, and I loved what she tweeted yesterday when she said, "I love my black job." Kind of a tweak to Donald Trump's comments about black jobs.
Yeah.
I know we're not supposed to touch politics on the pod, but that was kind of tied into the Olympics. So there.
And what do you think of the advertising in the Olympics, Tom? Let me know your thoughts. I would like, well,
you go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, as I've often said to you, if I had my own advertising agency, I would call it the Gary Doyle experience. I think you know this, right?
Yep.
The Gary Doyle experience. And if the Gary Doyle experience was doing an ad for an advertiser that would appear in the Olympics, I would say, okay, I would here's what I'd do. I would decree
I decree.
No ads with athletes in them. Or at least not great, awesome athletes. Don't show them. Don't want to see them at all. I don't care if it's them, they're with their parents, them bailing. Hey, just no athletes. Okay, we'll start there. Because every ad has athletes, and they all run together, and you pay no attention.
And not only do they run together, which is absolutely true, but they run together with the programming, because of what NBC's propensity to have all the featurettes on everything. So it's like, I don't know why you as a creative director might be able to shed some light on this, but why do advertisers feel they have to have that to advertise on the Olympics that I'm answering my question. I imagine they think if you do something that's not related to the Olympics, you have an even greater chance that people will tune out. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I think of that. It's groupthink, right? It's like all advertising is done, kind of, like everybody else does it, basically. But I think of that. Remember that Nike ad years ago with the fat kid running down the road? Fat little kid, 10-year-old kid. Remember that?
Yeah.
All it showed was the fat kid, and it was like this copy saying, greatness comes from within everybody. It's like, wow, okay. That ran on the Olympics. That's good. We need more of that. So even Nike's new ad is that everyone's going bonkers for that in the ad community. I don't think it's all that great. Have you seen it? The one about winning isn't for everyone, and it talks about how self-absorbed you have to be as an athlete to win, and you have to want to devastate your opponent and crush them like a bug. Have you seen this?
I'm trying to picture it, and I don't think I've seen it. No.
Yeah.
I know Nike did some memorable Olympic spots in the past. They did things where they did a whole bunch of edits were about that moment right before the gun goes off, that kind of flinchy. And they've also done showing some of the kind of not gory, but fairly graphic injuries of people, who battle through and still come back. I think, frankly, it's funny. I was thinking about this about Nike. I don't know if you agree, but I feel like Nike has they were cresting for a long time. And they're a little bit of a downslope. I feel like Nike is not quite the sexy brand it once was, that they may be resting on their laurels a little bit, and they need perhaps a bit of a recharge or something.
I think that's a very astute comment, Tom. A very astute comment. I would say that's true. Their work is still far better than most advertisers, but agree, it's a little bit tired. A little bit tired. So, yeah. So there.
Gary, while we're on the topic of sports, I wanted to be the first to congratulate former Green Bay Packer Steve McMichael on his induction into the Hall of Fame. I know
you hate Steve McMichael. You only like him now because he's disabled.
No, he's former Green Bay Packer Steve McMichael. So that's kind of what I'm trying to point out to you. Do you think he's going to go in as a Green Bay Packer?
If you have half of one good season as a Green Bay Packer quarterback, you can be the highest paid one in the league, son.
Whoa. Oh, all right. A little Jordan Love dig there, huh? All right.
Yeah. I like Steve McMichael.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I like him.
It's just tragic what that poor man is going through right now. I would venture to guess. I don't know the current state of his condition, but if they hadn't inducted him this year, he might not have made it one more year. It's probably in the world of diseases, that's probably got to be the worst one there is to get. Lou Gehrig's disease, don't you think?
Yeah. Were you upset that Devin Hester got inducted?
No, I think he was deserving. I do. He was a game changer, which is also one of the things I wanted to ask you about.
They had an interesting quote in the Tribune today. I like this. I think it was Jarrett Payton, Walter Payton's son, was on the Bears at the time, and in training camp, when his first camp, he said he distinctly noticed when he would run past you, he would make a sound, like a whoosh.
Yeah.
And he goes, "I've never heard that before." Like a sound, like
yeah.
That.
Speaking of game changer, I was hoping you could appeal to your fellow advertising writers and ask them once and for all to please retire that phrase. It is so lazy and it's everywhere. No more game changer.
Game changer. That's a phrase you don't want to see anymore.
It's a game changer.
You know what phrase I don't want to see anymore? Double down.
In advertising or in general?
No, in general.
Okay. Double down
if
meaning...
if you say something that makes you look like an a-hole, you don't retract it. You don't apologize. You double down. So there. Tom, we get a lot of emails, as you know. This is the part where you're supposed to say, no, we don't.
Don't you think we've beaten that one to death by now? But it's very true. I don't think we've gotten an email in 5 months, except the one you're about to read.
We got another email. Yeah, we got another email from Ellie, who was our most faithful writer, perhaps our only listener at this point.
Rather than
Ellie,
calling the podcast So There, maybe we should change the name to For Ellie.
Or just Ellie with an exclamation point.
Like Rhoda.
Or, speaking of politics, remember Jed? For a time, Jed Bush he would say at his rallies, he had banners that said, Jed! Exclamation point, Jed!
Poor Jed Bush, who was eviscerated by the mean man, Mr. Trump.
Please clap. Remember that?
I don't remember that.
He said something about he was visiting some old folks' home in Florida. His campaign, and the campaign was lagging, and he said something like, "And I believe that all seniors should have affordable health care coverage." And there was this crickets, and he goes, "Please clap." It's true. You can look it up. Google it. All right. So Ellie writes, "Dear Gary and Tom," I love the order of that, by the way, Ellie. "Is bright orange sweat in you?" Was a deeply thought-provoking episode. That was our episode about the Gatorade campaign. I found myself wondering in no particular order. Number one, can Gary and Tom always see each other as they record a new pod? This was brand new information. Do they comment on one another's outfits? Yes, we can see each other. No, we generally don't comment on each other's outfits. Tom wears golf shirts every pod, so what's to comment on? They're always the same.
Gary's bare-chested, so there's equally nothing to comment on there. You need to get to the gym more, my friend.
I do the pod nude. It's true. It's a little affectation of mine to be as free as I can.
And unencumbered.
Unencumbered. Number two, how does Gatorade's bright orange sweat feel on the skin? Does it feel sticky like Gatorade? This is icky. Why would a focus group not flag this for unpleasantness? Are focus groups honest about their feelings?
Now, if I recall, this discussion she's referencing was about Gatorade's odd... They would show people sweating the product, it looked like. People had orange sweat coming out of their pores. So it made you think that what you're actually drinking is human sweat.
But the sticky thing is an excellent point. Somebody must have brought that up in focus groups. And you know they tested this campaign because it's a big campaign for a big brand. Packaged goods. So you know they did. Someone must have said, ooh, that'd be sticky. All right, number four. By the way, Ellie, are focus groups honest about their feelings? God, yes. I can't count how many ads focus groups have hated of mine. Who wrote this? This is just stupid. And I'm sitting right behind the glass with the client. Number 3, why did Gatorade rebrand to G? We kind of tackled this. I think it's because it sounds cooler would be my only guess. I don't know. What do you think, Tom?
I don't know. Maybe the same reason Angie's List rebranded to Angie. Maybe they're talking to themselves a little bit. Because that's what they call it in the office. I don't know.
All right. Like Chef?
Chef.
No, Chef Boyardee, Chef.
Yeah.
I want some Chef.
Although they didn't rebrand to that. That was a line from a kid who affectionately referred to it as Chef.
That Josh and Paul totally made up to make it seem like people talked about Chef Boyardee that way. I'd like some Chef. Lame attempt. If you're listening, Josh, I love you. Josh is a friend of mine, but lame.
I don't agree. Again, it was. I could see that a kid would call Chef Boyardee Chef. Mom, I want Chef tonight. You know what's you treat that like some kind of it's a stretch or something.
Okay, moving on. I think to another ad. I think another ad that Ellie's assessing. If Apple wanted to convey that the newly slim iPad was equipped with all those musical and artistic abilities, why did they choose such a destructive visual? Why not have the iPad blooming like a flower as all of the musical instruments fly into it, rather than crushing them like bugs? Why so much creaking and splintering of wood like a sad death?
Yeah, that's a great point.
Great point. 5, will straws give me wrinkles? Why didn't I know about this? Are people still using straws even? 6, Gary and Tom aren't allowed to discuss their assigned albums until the next pod. Does this mean Gary and Tom won't talk until the next pod? Will Gary assume Tom is angry with him? We always assume that we're angry at each other. Will Tom assume he's done something grave to offend Gary? I just want to say, Tom, a friend of mine that listens to the pod also referred to that pod as, that episode where you two talked about albums nobody's heard of.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah. I mean, I think it was probably our most self-indulgent episode, perhaps. You know? Kind of like if we decide
this one.
I don't know.
Besides the episode. There's a lot of contenders for most self-indulgent.
I don't think this one is self-indulgent. I think this one's fascinating.
No, I'm kidding. Yeah, it is. To us. Okay, 7th and final point. I like Tom and Gary's album challenge because it makes me feel even more eager to tune into the next pod. Would Gary and Tom consider another such challenge like a test of their marketing skills? Wow. Say each person provides the other with an unimaginably dull product and the other has to come back on the next pod with a hot tagline for it, possibly even with nouns as verbs. What say Tom and Gary? I would say, well, Ellie, that's my job, essentially. Coming up with ads for unimaginably dull products. So not really into this challenge. What do you think, Tom?
Yeah, and you would probably poo-poo over anything I came up with anyway, so I kind of know how that one turns out. I would push back on Ellie a little bit and said, Ellie, we haven't heard any reactions from the album, the Battle of the Bands episode we did. The Bruce Springsteen versus Emerson, Lake and Palmer episode has been crickets in the email box on that one.
Yeah, we didn't. I had an idea to send that to the artists.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
We forgot to do that. Let's do that after this and recap the feedback we get.
Yeah. Speaking
get on that right after this. I'm going to send it to Bruce. Tom's going to send it to
Carl Palmer,
the only remaining. Yeah,
that's right. Although Carl Palmer will probably take offense at what your spouse said about one of the tracks on that album. Didn't you talk about that in the pod?
Yeah,
Lisa was not a fan of the song called Toccata, if I recall.
It's not music.
It's not music, she said.
That was her comment.
But Ellie did mention noun as verb. I have one. that I did here in the last few weeks. Can I favor you with that?
Of course.
It's for a pet food called Nutrish, which the name there just bugs me. But
yeah, it's a terrible name.
Exactly. The tagline is, helping dogs, dog healthy.
It's a double whammy. It's a noun as verb, which is grammatically incorrect, and then dog healthy is also, the healthy is grammatically incorrect. It should have been dog healthily, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Dog healthy.
Helping dogs, dog
That's
healthy.
offensive on multiple levels. And also the name of the food, Delish or Nutrish.
Help me through. There was, Ellie mentioned an ad. There was an ad that was pulled from the Olympics that I'm trying to remember what it was. Was it for Apple? I know as soon as we end this episode and I listen to it, I'm going to remember what the heck it was. But
Could
there was
it have been for Google?
Yes. What was the creative again?
Terrible. I haven't seen many of the ads because I tend to DVR the Olympics and then fast forward through the ads so I could see they're all athletes.
The child writing the letter, right?
But that was one that I saw. We must have caught up to live, and I saw that, and I said at the time to Lisa, I hate that ad. That she's using, a little 8-year-old kid is using AI to write a fan letter to an athlete. I hate that. And I didn't think anything else of it. I just figured it's another dumb ad on the Olympics. But yeah, people really hated it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It just struck me when I saw it, even before the stuff happened, is wouldn't the athlete who received the letter rather get something sweet and charming from a little young person than something that AI created? I mean, that's...
I am a big fan of you. I love you on the pommel horse. It really is impressive to me. Love, Stephanie.
Love, child, 8 years old.
Love, XO Sector Z5.
That's good. I haven't heard your Android voice before. I have to use that in future episodes. I like that.
That'll be the sequel. When the athlete reads the letter. Dear Simone. I think you are the best.
Well, thank you, Ellie. As always, I want to say, Ellie's letters are so thoughtful and so thorough and so thought-provoking. We do not take them for granted. We appreciate them, and we appreciate you. So thank you very much, Ellie. Keep them coming.
Yes. Thank you, Ellie. I can tell that letter was not written by AI.
Oh, that's frightening.
We will take any letters from anybody, whether AI written or not, at sothere@yahoo.com.
Yes, because beggars mustn't be choosers.
Oh, we are beggars.
Enjoy, everyone. Hope you enjoy the rest of the Olympics. And Mike Tirico and Kelly Clarkson and Peyton Manning and Snoop and all the fun things NBC will have in store for us over the next week. And until we meet again, for Gary Doyle, this is Tom Karamitis saying, so there.
So there.